Good evening. And as promised, this is not going to be a long video. I'm not going to do a lot of talking. I will introduce what I'm doing here. Here I have the Tranquility Tarot on the left, my left, um, by Tarot Master Guide. And we have Pagan Otherworlds by Usi, Uusi. Now, what why I'm doing this is because there are some cards of you in the Tranquility Tarot deck that have a reminiscent feel of some of the cards in the Pagan Otherworld. So it's just a side by side, no judgments, no comments. I'm just going to let the cards speak for themselves. I personally like both decks. There was some suggestion that um, the Tranquility Tarot may have used AI to do some of the characterizations, and if you look closely at a couple of the characters, you might come to that conclusion. However, on the website for tarotmasterguide.com and from any information I can find online, it looks as if it is done with eco-friendly inks and watercolors, and maybe be digitally enhanced. But other than that, I can't find any information. I did message the company earlier and asked them. This was before someone had mentioned this to me. I asked, I was just curious to know if this was mixed media. And so I had put that question out there. But anyway, um, I personally don't have a problem with AI decks as long as they're done well and I enjoy them. I do not think um, they equate to other decks that are hand painted, but I have both, and most of my decks I have are hand painted, or some other type of collage art, or where I know the artist has invested everything into it. Um, but that does not detract from me from a good deck that may be using digital art or AI that is done well, that creates a good quality product, which this is. So those feelings go both ways, all over the spectrum there. I, for one, if I like the deck, I like the deck. And I like both these. So we'll start there. That's all I want to say. And here we go. The Pagan Otherworlds does have a few extra cards in it, and I left those in. So I will start with this deck, and then when we get to the full, we'll go side by side. I'm missing an ace of wands. I will have to look for that. It's probably mixed up. I did use both these decks before, and I do love these hummingbirds. I know I said I wasn't going to say anything, but I do love those hummingbirds. And there's the ace of wands. Okay, so let me know what you think in the comments. Like I said, this will be a short video because we're not going to do much more. I did want to point out 3 other cards that a friend of mine on Facebook did point out to me that made them think this was AI deck. One is the Chariot, and then when I looked closer at it, because I for some reason I didn't catch this, but if you look at the Chariot, it looks like there's a disconnect here between the horse and the hind legs, but then I'm looking at it, it's, to me now that I'm looking at it closer, it doesn't really look like a chariot. It looks like one of the saddles that would be on top of a camel. You can see how it's set here and high on the hips. So that's interesting. So there was a question about that. I don't know the answer. I still like the cards. There was a question here on the devil, on his hand, and I'm thinking that I looked at this card fairly closely because I always look at the devil card to try, because it didn't have the extra people here chained to him, but then I was looking at, well, what ties it to the traditional meaning of the devil card, and it's the chains. You still get entangled in that. I probably did notice his hands, his fingers, but since he's the devil and a demon, I'm thinking, well, I'm thinking my brain just didn't register it there, so I'm uncertain if that's an AI error or if that was the artist's intent because of it's Satan, so to speak. And then there was a mention of now this is the card, as I told you in the walkthrough, that represents Pamela Coleman Smith. And there's a question on the hand here, but when I look at it closely, it looks like the under part there that might be mistaken for an extra digits or warped hand is, to me, appears to be shadow on the dress. So, and this hand, because of the detail of the pentacle, to me it looks like she's holding the bird. So I don't see too much there close up. It might be harder to see on the camera, but to me that reads as shadow. And like I say, I did message the Tarot Master Guide to ask them if there's anything conclusive on that. But I will let you know if I do find out. I know feelings run high on AI decks, but from what I can find out, it is not. Maybe some digital enhancement, but not AI. But we'll find out. And then, like I said, that's all I can find out. It's one of those things where the witness neither has acknowledged or denied. So we'll see. But either way, they're both beautiful decks. I'm glad I have them both. Pagan Otherworlds will always have a special place in my heart because it was one of the first decks that I had bought from a small company of an indie quality. This quality on this cardstock is very similar to it. The same type of linen, the same type of feel. So even with the questions that were posed to me around it, I think it's a good buy. I have no problem with AI decks as long as they're done well. And to me, it's no competition between an AI and a hand-painted artwork for a deck. And I don't see one detracting from the other. I really don't. Because if you look at my collection and most people's collections, I think even if they do have an AI deck or two or three, the majority, the bulk of their collection will be done by artists' own hands. And so that's my 2 cents on that. Please comment whether or not you like this deck, the Tranquility deck. I know you probably like the Pagan. Everybody loves Pagan Otherworlds. I'm sure there's some that don't, and that's fine. But I would say most people I run into absolutely love Pagan Otherworlds. But let me know what you think about the Tranquility Tarot. Right? Have a good night. That's it. Just a quick comparison, and take care. We'll see you next time.